All right, good evening, traders. Today is January 8th, 2024. My name is John Kerrigan. I moderate the BYOB Trading Room. All right, had you been here in the BYOB Trading Room today, you would have made bank. You would have done really well. Today we traded one of our flagship trade strategies, and it's called the Trend Day. So let's go take a look at the beginning of the trend day. So let's start out just identifying a few landmarks. All right, so right in through here, this is the FOMC statement anchored VWAP, and that would be this dark purple line. You can barely see it, but it's right there, and you can follow it up, and it comes over here today. And then we've got another anchored VWAP, which I placed. Now, the reason for me placing this on the FOMC statement, because it was a marketable event. So I want to know what investors are doing with the information. Is this a pump and dump, or are they really finding value in the stocks that they purchased? So that's why I plant my anchored VWAP at the beginning of the FOMC statement when they said they're not going to raise rates. Now, my other anchored VWAP, to start it out, is at the high. So there's the high for the year right up there. Okay, so I planted one at the high and one at the FOMC statement. And you can see here's the pink one. It comes strolling down to about there. And then here's the dark purple one. It's barely visible, but it strolls all the way over here. So we left off Friday. We left off Friday and we closed right about, well, let's just say right here, about 467.95 right there. So every morning I place another anchored VWAP at the beginning of the previous day. So that would have been Friday. So I plant this teal anchored VWAP. And what that does, that helps me determine, is price moving away from VWAP, anchored VWAP, or is price moving below anchored VWAP? In other words, is money coming into the market, or is money leaving the market? So that's what helps me determine that. So first thing out of the gate today, all right, we get this green candle right here. So for me, that's the bulls. The bulls strike first blood. They draw first blood. Green candle right out of the gate over the anchored VWAP. So that gives me a starting signal. And right there, from there, I say SPY price over, right here. It's posted in the alerts in the room. All right, over 469.26. I'm going to buy 50 470 calls for DTEs. Okay, so that means 4 days till expiration. They're going to expire on Friday, and the strike is 470, and the option of choice is a call as opposed to a put. So they're directional. They're not spreads or condors or butterflies or anything like that. Okay, they're just straight up directional calls. So I say I'm going to buy 50 right over 469.29, which is right there. In other words, you take out the top of that candle there, I want in. All right, because that means it's going even further. So here's this red candle. We take that out. I'm in for 50 calls. And then right after that, I tell you, hey, look, first target for my SPY calls is 470.04. All right, this is 10:10. All right, so here comes, 470.04. So let's put 470.40. So right here. So you can see now, price is moving. Here's my anchored VWAP. Remember, this is the teal line right here. You can see price is continuing to move Where? Above the anchored VWAP. So money is coming into the market, right? Because if it was leaving the market, price would be coming down. But money's coming in, so it's over anchored VWAP. You see that? This is the average price that shares traded for. So if money's coming in, you can see price goes up. In order to get price to go up, you need institutions hitting the ask. In other words, whatever the ask is, they're willing to pay for it and more. And that's the only thing that causes price to go up. You and I, we can't cause price to move up. I mean, we may for an instant, but let me tell you, they got much more ammunition than we got, much more capital to play with. So we want to see what the institutions are doing. So we want to play and ride right alongside of the institutions. So here's the institutions, and they're coming in and they're saying, well, we see value here, and they're buying it up. So as they're buying it up, so now I'm looking out and I'm saying, okay, so how long should they buy this up? Well, you know, here's the high, is that pink line. Remember, we backed out, and this was the high of the day. So since the high, they're finding value all the way up to the anchored VWAP of the high. This would be the average shares that have traded since the high. And what they're saying is we see value down here, even though it's since the high. Okay, so all of this represents value to them because it's under the anchored VWAP for the high. So I figure well, then they're probably just going to trade it up to here or over to the FOMC statement, which is the next one up, which is 471.81. So I'm looking for first targets, 470.40. How did I get that? Well, I look over to the left, and I can see this bank of wicks right here. I'm on a 10-minute chart, and I look at this bank of wicks, and I say, well, that's where sellers showed up before. That's going to be my target. You know, here's the breakdown candle, right? So breakdown candle high, that's a logical target. Now what we got here is a W pattern since that breakdown candle. So we got a move to the downside. Let me trash that. Get this. So we got to move to the downside and then a move up to this apex right there, and then comes back down, and then we do a double bottom right through here. See that? And then we take the arrows, and now it starts to come up. Now notice the very first candle rips right over the top of that W, that apex right there. That's strength. Because usually price will have to have a little battle. But they didn't even have a battle. They just ripped right over that. So that was telling me price is really strong today. So as I'm trading this, I'm going through, and my first target was 470.40. Now, if we hang out here, all right, for a good part of the day, and we just start to bull flag, instead of bouncing away from it, okay, so you hit this target. Now what are you going to do? Are you going to hang out here and go after the next target? Well, they didn't bounce away because you can see here's the regular VWAP, and they held price up over the regular VWAP and the anchored VWAP right here. So the anchored VWAP, that's my teal line, and the orange line right here, that's my daily VWAP. So you can see it hanging out. Now, I have a rule. This is our flagship strategy, and it's called the trend day. And it involves the 10-minute chart, and you need, in order for a trend day to qualify, you have to have price, the 3 EMA, which is this yellow line, the 8 EMA, which is this gray line, and the price action, which is these candles, all up over VWAP between the hours of 11 and noon. All right, if they come back down through, it doesn't count. It voids the trend day. Okay, but now they're up here and they're hanging out. And now I'm saying to myself, well, if the trend day triggers, I'm back into this thing. All right. So you can see here we are. We're hanging out. We're hanging out. We're hanging out. And so far it's noon and we qualify for the trend day. So price action held up over VWAP until noon right there. So as price action hangs out here, now I'm saying, all right, so what typically happens on a trend day is the 3 stays on top of the 8 until the end of the day. All right, now that doesn't usually happen. The 3 stays on top of the 8 until the end of the day. So 9 times out of 10, that's what happens. The 3 stays on top of the 8 until the end of the day, unless it gets climactic. All right, so after we hit our target here, I set up my next target, 470.82. How did I get 470.82? Well, we go over here, we look to the left, and you can see we came into these peaks right here where sellers were before. So here comes my next target. See right there, you got some sellers. See right here, we got some sellers. See up there, the top of that wick, we got some sellers. So that's going to be my next target. That's where the sellers showed up in the past. So 470.82 becomes my next target. All right, so then they go up, and you can see right here, first target hit at 10:35. Bingo. First target, we nailed it. All right. Next target, 470.82. All right, you can see. And the next target higher after that, 470.35. Well, you can see right here at 12 o'clock, we hit the second target. Bingo again. All right, 470.82. And I'm talking to traders and I'm saying this is probably gonna stay above the 8 for a good part of the day, probably till the end of the day. All right. So try to hold for longer, because typically, the 3 doesn't stay on top of the 8 all day. That doesn't happen every day. But when you miss one of these days, you get a little bit of FOMO. You feel like you left out, like you sold too soon, or you didn't hang in there long enough. You didn't know how to hang in there. But this is one of our flagship strategies. So we pretty much know what to look for. That, we're going to hang on to this thing pretty much until it gets climactic. And it never got that climactic look. So we pretty much held on to it almost all day. And so we traded this thing from, 469 clear up to, well, let's just say 474.35 right up there. So you can see the benefits of being in a trading room where the moderator knows what's going on and there's some flagship strategies that are working out or in play, and he's including you in on those flagship strategies. So as we hit this, then we go up, we hit our next target, 471.35. As you can see right here, 1243, third target hit, bingo, third target hit, 1244. We hit the next target, 471.35. So then after that, I say next target higher. All right, fourth target's going to be 471.82. So I map it out before we even get there. I'm telling you where the next target's going to be in case you want to take profit or in case you want to hold for longer. All right, so then here we come back and here we hit bingo again at 1:50, 2 o'clock. We hit 471.81, 82 really. But you can see as we're going up, we hit 471.35, we hit 471.82, and then we come up here, we hit 472.40, and we're still in this. We're still hanging on because we know this is going to be the outcome. We're confident we've played this strategy before. We know how it ends. All right? And that's the benefits of being in a trade room where the moderator knows what's more than likely to happen. Now, this is a trade strategy that doesn't work 100% of the time. None of them work 100% of the time. But I'll tell you this, 9 times out of 10, this strategy works. So this is, again, if you're between the hours of 11 and noon, 10-minute chart, price action, 3 EMA, 8 EMA, all of it over VWAP, no climactic candles. There's a good chance this strategy, the 3, is going to stay on top of the 8 until the end of the day. And that's the flagship strategy for BYOB. It's called the trend day. Now, if you go down here, I'll scroll down just a little bit lower. You can see right here at 212, bingo, 5th target met. All right, next target higher, 470, 475, and almost hit 475 up here. And that was I guess that's a premature bingo because that was us hitting 473.62. And that's where I said that's where I'd be taking a little bit of profit there. And then as it held in here, I bought about 20 shares, 16 contracts for the thriller trade. And you see that in this 10-minute candle ripping, and I expected it to go 475. Now, if you look over to the left, over here, you can see we have an open gap right there. So we're looking for gap fill. So for tomorrow morning, after we got this on the daily candle, you zoom in on this, you got a big green candle. Anytime you get a big green candle like this, I'm looking for follow through. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for follow through on this big green candle. All right. If I don't get follow through, then, I'm just going to have to protect my positions. But I'm looking for follow through coming right after this big green candle. So I think we're going up to 480. We'll see. Maybe this winds up being an MMRP. We'll see. Igniting candle, maybe pull back to support. That would be anchored VWAP back here. And then see if we can get 2 or 3 price advancement candles moving us up to 480. But that's our flagship strategy right there, is the 10-minute chart right here between the hours of 11 and noon. And if you were in the room, you'd have an instructor or a moderator that would share with you all of the great ideas, about picking up some calls here. You take out a red candle there, you can jump in. Take out a red candle here, you can jump. It's like a river of money, okay? It's a river of money flowing into the market right here. That's what you got. It's a river of money flowing into the market. See how it's bringing price back up to the average price. All right, see that? It's taking it up, and then it's taking it even further past the average price from a specific point in time. So they're seeing value down here. So they're trading this up and over the anchored VWAP. So this is like a river of money, and you're walking along the riverbank, and you're watching, these Benjamins and Franklins just go floating down the river, and you're like, well, how come I'm not participating, right? Well, why aren't I in? Here it is. Find a red candle. As soon as it's wiped out by a green candle, you jump in. Right here. These are your opportunities. These red candles. But you got to know that this is going to be a trend day. You can't just jump in on any red candle. You certainly don't want to jump in on that red candle, right? You want to jump in on a strategy that works. Okay? And that's the trend day. All right, so you see that? You got a red candle wiped out by green. You play the color game, you jump in right there, right on top of that red candle. As soon as the green clears it, here's the green clears another red candle, jump in. Green clears another red candle, jump in. And you jump in and you see you're in the river of money floating to a lake of money until it stops flowing. When that river stops flowing, that's when you want to get out. Okay, as long as it continues to make higher lows and higher highs, you're going to want to stay in this river of money. And that's what you got there. So that's the flagship strategy. That's one of the flagship strategies for Be Your Own Boss Trading. So that's BYOBTrading.com. So if you don't have a trial, or you're interested in getting a trial or participating in moves like this where you can buy 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 contracts and ride those contracts until the end of the day for $4 or $5, that's where you're making account changing moves. All right, this is how you double your account, is by jumping in on strategies that you're confident work over and over and over. Is getting in on something like this with a bunch of contracts and knowing how to move your stop and manage it as it comes up. See, on this trade, you don't have to get out, okay, until the 3 crosses the 8 EMA. All right, and if you notice, the 3 never crosses the 8 EMA. You're in, and you can stay in till the end of day. Just like that. Or if you get out, let's say you did get out on this red candle. As soon as price clears that red candle, you can jump right back in. Right there. As soon as price clears that red candle, you can jump right back in. As soon as price clears that red candle, you can jump right back in. And you don't have to get out until the 3 crosses the 8. There you go, right there. So that's our flagship strategy. It's called the Trend Day. And if you're not taking a trial at BYOBTrading.com, I urge you to. They're only $24.50. It's a great deal. I think with one trade, this one trade alone, you could probably make enough to pay off an annual membership. Okay, so something to think about. But this is how we trade in the BYOB Trading Room. All right, that's it. Until tomorrow or Wednesday, we're gonna do a little video on spreads in the next few days. So I hope you stay tuned.